with Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
That was...
I'm sad Tony didn't really get one, but his was also a very non-dramatic entrance.
He gave Thanos a good fight.
He did. He fucking...
Hey, are we live? No, stop.
We're just filibustering. It says we're live, aren't? Oh, it doesn't.
No,
say
it doesn't. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Oh.
Ooh. Silence yourself. Maybe. Silence yourself.
Okay. That should be working.
No.
It's so quiet though. Jesus.
It is. Is it recording through the wrong speaker?
That should be working. Loud noises. It's so quiet though.
Hello?
It is. Is it recording through the wrong speaker?
It should be working. Loud noises. Okay, so if we talk.
Hello? Should we move? Are we recording it through the blue?
Yeah. I know. I'm gonna move it closer.
We should be fine. Do you want me to close the door?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I won't change anything. Not really. Alright, so.
It's just an excuse to snap your fingers.
Alright.
Alright.
So the chat works. Everything
Chat works.
works.
Excellent. Excellent.
Magnifico.
Sweet. Maybe we'll get somebody in a second.
Maybe.
Nah, I don't care. It's really just like an escape pod that's live.
Yeah.
You know, honestly.
What? No.
What?
No, this is...
I just do this and.
That was kind of scary for a second.
Oh, that just be.
Yeah.
Everything has to be proper in this proper place.
Yeah. Pardon. Perfection.
Alright. Infinity War.
Alright, yeah, so we all saw Infinity War. Welcome to the Escape Pod, second live show.
Yeah.
Talking about the biggest movie of all time that has ever existed, that everybody's waiting for 10 years.
Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
Titanic 2.
Actually, I think Sunset Boulevard was the one with the re-release, not Gone with the Wind.
Right.
But, yeah, so I know everybody's been saying, they've been setting this up for 10 years. Nah, they've really been setting it up for like 7.
Yeah.
If you count when they introduced the Tesseract. But anyway, we all saw Infinity War, and rather than get right to talking to you about how we thought of it, we are going to do something that the Escape Pod has not done since I believe the only one we did was the Star Wars.
The very first episode?
Very first episode of the Escape Pod, so it's a monumentous occasion for us too. We're going to rank all fucking 19 Marvel movies. Gents, who do you think should go first? Are we going from? I think we should go from best to worst. Do you want to do like that or worst to best?
I think worst to best.
Worst to best then. Okay, we'll do worst to best.
Whose idea was it to do rankings?
I think it was you planted the
Nathan's
germ.
first.
I'm first.
You first. So I think you fine with going last.
Of course.
Okay. Oh, by the way,
We did say worst to best, so.
Okay, so worst to best. This is pre Infinity War.
So
Infinity War is not included on this.
So we're not going to include Infinity War till after we talked about the movie, because for all you know, it could be at the bottom of the list.
Exactly.
So starting with Nathan, going from the bottom, give a real brief thought on how you feel about the movie and where it's ranked, but don't go into too much depth because we can do that later. So going from worst to best.
All right, so at the very very bottom, number 18 / spoilers number 19. Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, who would have guessed that?
Because it's the best reviewed Marvel. It's sack of shit. I affectionately refer to it as God's mistake and/or proof that God does exist and that He hates us. You know, it depends on my mood.
Yeah,
but just outright dog shit. Second to last, you don't get to see it.
No, sorry, yeah.
Second to last would be Iron Man 3.
Wow.
Actually.
Shit, dude.
So just for context, like, I watched 3 Marvel movies per week leading up to this. So it was like a fucking 6-week endeavor.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I watched like 2.5.
Yeah. No, I watched all 18. Iron Man 3, I feel, is just a defilement of a really cool character that was built up really interestingly.
Yeah.
And it just makes light of Tony's PTSD from after the Avengers, and fuck that fucking kid that he's like friends with from Stranger Things that I haven't watched because it would also be towards the bottom of the list here. But yeah, so fuck that movie.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, there was this weird side. You know how
he's got a potato gun, so you know he's a smart kid.
You know how they go to Sakaar and Thor Ragnarok? It was kind of the same thing, but shorter. Where he goes to like this random town and like there's this weird side plot with this kid. Anyway.
Yeah. So third to last, Ant-Man. Because you know how I mentioned Iron Man 3 defiles a character? This does a similar thing where it's like, hey, rather than focus on the original Ant-Man, we're going to focus on the second one that doesn't have any of the interesting characteristics. And he's Paul Rudd, who, after multiple viewings for multiple movies, I don't like feel the knee-jerk reaction of wanting to punch him in the face, but it's still there. Subconsciously, yeah, it's programmed in.
He's so good at mute, though.
He was good at
Shout
mute.
out to Duncan Jones' mute on Netflix.
He was good at mute, yeah.
I'll
take
that
that
when I see it. Iron Man 2, after Ant-Man.
That's weird that you put Iron Man 2 above 3. That's just weird to me.
Well, because here's the thing, because I don't give a shit about Mickey Rourke's character from the comics. I know he's a big character in the comics, but I'm not as familiar with him as I am with Mandarin.
It's not about the fact that he's from the comics. It's more that like Mickey Rourke literally went to prison, gave his fucking heart for this role, and they cut all of his scenes and pissed him off. That's the thing that offends me.
I mean,
that's for a later episode.
That does offend me greatly. After that, Doctor Strange.
Dr. Octopus.
Dr. Octopus. But it's crap. Very, very pretty movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Leaves no impression. Like, when I was going through my marathon from the start, I kept having to remind myself that Doctor Strange was in there somewhere. It just...
Somewhere.
It's just
Waiting
very bland.
Was it phase 2 or 3? I don't know.
Well, where does it take place? I don't
Who knows? The timeline's weird.
Also, a flaw that I'll bring up in a couple of these coming up, too much comedy. Like, I like having fun as much as the next person, but Marvel, you've made 19 goddamn movies now. Pull it back a little bit. Like, I've had fun. Like, I've eaten so much popcorn watching your movies. Like, I need to consume something that's a little more wholesome, you know? So yeah, Doctor Strange, meh. After that, Spider-Man Homecoming. The only reason Spider-Man Homecoming is that high up is because of Michael Keaton. Everything else I really don't give a shit about.
You're so much harsher.
Because I fucking love... Because Peter Parker is one of my favorite comic book characters. Spider-Man is one of my favorite comic book characters. I've read the most of his comics out of any of the Avengers.
Cool. Very cool.
Very cool. And I feel like with this, all I can do is, oh, he's a kid, he's a dork, so he's spazzing out, he's jumping on the bed, and he's freaking out, and his banter, like when Spider-Man bantered in the comics, to me, it was because he was throwing off his opponent, like he was trying to mess with them, is really cool. But when he banters in this movie, it annoys me. I'm like, shut the fuck up and fight. Like, So yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, not a fan. After that, Thor: The Dark World. That is higher. That's as high as it is because of Loki. Because all of his scenes are really good. And honestly, I do enjoy, like, if you cut out all the shit on Earth, I'd say that is
about 30 to 40%.
That's okay. Like 30 to 40% of that film is garbage. It's like a 0%.
Okay.
But 70 to 60% of that is like a good 80 to 75% quality of a film.
Okay.
So, like, I think it's real good. I enjoy Malekith's scenes.
Right.
There just need to be more of them.
Right.
It's one of the first films, I think, possibly the first, where they straight up kill a fairly big character.
That scene had balls.
Yeah, that scene had balls. Like, and he's just very upfront about it. And it's Christopher Eccleston. Like, I can't not like him. I want to see Sal's reactions for Destiny still arrives. Anyway, so after Thor: The Dark World, stop fucking.
I'm not looking.
Age of Ultron. I struggled strongly with where, like, it went up and down like 3 spaces a couple of times. Age of Ultron is as high as it is because of the arc with the twins and Hawkeye. I think that was really good. It's as low as it is because of Ultron himself.
Yeah,
because it's not Ultron.
It's interesting, not to spoil too much about our later talk, but I feel like Ultron was set up as something and he didn't live up to it, whereas Thanos was set up as something and he was what they set him up to be.
Yes.
And I think that's a bit of why Ultron doesn't work as well.
Because one of the things, like when you look at the trailers for Age of Ultron, very threatening, very like dark looking, very like holy shit, this is going to be so creepy. And like
in the actual movie,
all of his threatening lines are what you hear in the trailer, pretty much. And then the rest is just comedic dialogue.
He has like 2 scenes where he's really like intimidating, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So after Age of Ultron, we got the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
I am so surprised that both, because I know your list. Well, like I know based on like what we've gone through, both Guardians films are above Age of Ultron on your list. That shocks me.
I really fucking hate what they did to Ultron. It's like it lowers it pretty far down. Because here with Guardians of the Galaxy, and the second one, wherever it will fall on my list, those are the Marvel films that I can give a pass of. Okay, it's just a fun movie.
Are these edible stars? What is this?
I don't fucking know.
Just see this. What is this? Do you guys, audience, let me know in the comments.
That's from a gourmet chocolate shop in Seattle. The Candy Man, I think. Chocolate Man. I don't know. So Guardians of the Galaxy is a fun film. Do I feel a lot? No. Mm-hmm. I do for Rocket Raccoon. But yeah, it's fine. So after Guardians is Civil War. I know. Complete mess of a movie.
It's gonna be fun.
Villain's plan is like beyond drugs. Like, I'm sure a bunch of people are like, no, his plan is so brilliant. Like, he's playing. No, it makes no goddamn sense. But the character interactions are so good. That final fight between Cap and Iron Man is so just emotionally jarring and like so good. And then they immediately flop back to a comedic tone for the end of it because you can't end on that depressing note.
You can
you? So after Civil War is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Nice.
It's just everything the first Guardians of the Galaxy had, but better.
Thank you.
And feeling more about more characters. Still Rocket Raccoon, probably. Well, actually, I feel like I felt a little bit more for Rocket Raccoon in the first one than in the second one, but I felt more for other characters.
Gamora and Nebula definitely.
Yeah, and even Quill.
Quill got a lot.
Because I don't like Chris Pratt very much. Like everyone who's in love with him.
I didn't know that.
I'm not a huge fan. I'm over it. I don't know.
You were over it before it began.
I was over it before it began. I was like, I've seen him in a few scenes of Parks and Rec. Like, it made me chuckle. I wouldn't call it laughing. You know, it's like when you see something funny online, you're like that's not a laugh. That's just, you know,
out of context clips of the show.
Out of context clips of the show. Mm-hmm. That's better than watching the actual show.
No,
or do you want me to quote?
Parks and Rec is really good.
Okay.
It's not as good as The Office.
We're not ranking that on here.
No, we're gonna rank
on the next episode.
Anyway, so after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is Thor. A serviceable film. As with most of Marvel's comedy, it felt kind of forced. But when they weren't doing comedy, I liked it. Just played it very safe, very, very simple story of, oh, this hero is very arrogant. Guess what his lesson's gonna be? Oh.
Acceptance of others.
Yes. He's terribly racist against Heimdall beforehand, but then afterwards he comes... That's a lie, for anyone who has spoilers. So after Thor is the Incredible Hulk, because fuck all of you. Everyone's like, oh, Incredible Hulk is like the worst...
Yeah.
Fuck you. That's so good. I know the Hulk looks like garbage. They weren't using motion capture at the time. Fine. I'll give that to you. But, like, I love how they made this really great divide between Bruce Banner and the Hulk. There was this great dichotomy, how they were, like, two ends of the extremes.
Yeah.
Really fucking good. Not to mention, Tim Roth is amazing. Why hasn't the Abomination come back? He's still alive, goddammit.
They're still waiting on it.
Anyway. After the Incredible Hulk is the Avengers.
Bum, bum,
Bum,
bum,
bum. Every time we say the Avengers, we have to do the theme.
bum, bum.
That's why.
Bum, bum.
That's why I only said Age of Ultron. I didn't say.
Good, very good. You were wise.
So, Avengers. You know, if I had done this film,
Joke.
if I had done these rankings before I went through my rewatch, I probably would have ranked it lower.
Yeah.
Because in my mind,
Same.
I'm like, you know, this movie's overhyped. Everyone's like, oh, it's so fucking Loki's the best villain ever. I'm like, fuck you, that's not true. Rewatching it, that is such an ambitious fucking film.
Yes, it very much is.
It's so that is
we didn't
formally unprecedented until
we didn't when it's not people equate the movie as it's a fun movie where he managed to have all the characters interact. And I'm like, no, he managed to have every character have an arc.
Yes,
and that is what is so impressive about that film.
That is really fucking impressive. And I like Loki a lot more in that than I did in Thor.
Yes.
Loki, I did not mention this, just gets better and better with every film.
Until Thor Ragnarok.
But even then,
he is the best part of the film.
He is the best part of the film, and he has the best scenes in the film. So after the Avengers is Black Panther. Now I wanna preface this.
Shit, did I have my finish my list?
When I
you better be.
It's an old list, so I.
You racist.
Oh, what?
Anyway,
Racist.
Black Panther's not even on the list.
Wakanda
So I want to preface this. When I was originally making this list, there were so many goddamn ties because in this spot particularly, there was a 3-way tie between this and the next two films, but I held off. I broke them down.
Good.
You know, if you ask me in a different day when I'm in a different move, I'm sure they would all shift around. But Black Panther, just so fucking good. It solves the issue that so many Marvel films were falling into beforehand, where I actually gave a shit about the villain. Because up until then, I had not until...
See, you can give a shit about the villain when you try.
Yeah, when you give him a character, you make him sympathetic, you give him an arc. Anyway, it's Black Panther. Very, very good. And it's not just a really poorly done Black Lives Matter thing. There's actually a good message about, the divisions between people and, how to go about resolving
how to
that.
find unity.
Yeah.
Very good.
So after that, Black Panther is Iron Man. The fucking OG, started all of this, just solid movie.
Yeah.
I feel like... I don't know if I could say I'd rank it higher, but I'd like it more if it weren't for its sequels where they just redo his arc and kind of it doesn't necessarily lessen the impact of his film, but it's tainted just a bit.
Yeah.
So after that, Captain America, the first Avenger. If you twisted my arm, I could probably say Iron Man and Black Panther are actually better films.
Right.
But fuck you, I love Captain America.
Yeah.
He's my favorite Avenger. And it's such a good just origin story. I love period pieces too. So World War II setting, very good. It's one of its big flaws was the fact that Red Skull kind of just disappears, but then so anyway, and then for those of you that are keeping track and just have all 18 of these films memorized by heart, that puts at the very top Captain America: Winter Soldier, because holy shit,
what? No.
What?
That was I'm sure there were a bunch of people that were just that's not a very fun film. No, it isn't. It made me feel. It made me concerned. It was depressing, and it was
perfection.
I can this is the movie where they were
oh, you want the
hey, Russo brothers, do you want to start taking over after Whedon? I understand that motivation.
Yeah, I understand it now.
So that was my ranking.
As you were speaking, I shuffled around 2 items on the list.
Good. So
based on what you said.
So I swayed you.
I had to add in Black Panther.
Oh,
I reminded him that Black Lives Matter.
Starting from the bottom. Infinity War. No, I'm just joking. No, Thor Ragnarok. This movie is a tragedy. It's a travesty. Thor Ragnarok is
Hello.
This person probably really likes Thor Ragnarok.
No.
No, but
why you dissing?
How would you insult the
no,
audience?
I'm just joking. If you do, more power to you. I understand why people have fun with this film. It's not a boring film. It is very beautiful to look at most of the time. Thor Ragnarok just has the issue of I don't feel like the director or the writer give a shit about anything that's happening.
Yes. And
it's lit.
It is lit.
It is lit, but I just hate it. I hate it so much. It's just like I every time I try, I was about to feel something, they threw in a joke that ruined it. And that's a common flaw with Marvel films, but Thor Ragnarok is literally every single fucking scene is just a joke has to come in. And it's like, I get that, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it was supposed to be a comedy, but, like, this was about Ragnarok. You don't introduce a storyline about Asgard being imperialist and, like, genociding people in the same movie when you go to Sakaar and Jeff Goldblum talks about gay orgies. You just don't you don't mix those. It's just, it doesn't work. Okay, anyway, so after Thor Ragnarok, Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 I have never watched since I saw it in theaters. And the reason for that is that aside from the one scene I think that is amazing in Iron Man 2 is the scene where he watches the video of his father.
Yes.
And he has an emotional reaction to that. And especially because of the way, like, that's one thing in Civil War that I think works really well, is the way that they take the Iron Man 2 stuff and, like, pay it off a bit better. But Iron Man 2 has a few good scenes. Overall, it's, like, a setup movie.
Yes.
Like, Black Widow did not need to be in it. She just gets her introduction in the Avengers. Nick Fury just shows up to say, hey, we're setting up a universe. Justin Hammer's awful. They cut all of Mickey Rourke's scenes. Yeah. It's definitely like the first movie, but just we shuffled a few plot points. Mm-hmm. Tony is facing death, but they make him like make jokes and be an alcoholic. But unlike in the comics where they handled that maturely, they made it a joke. There's a few good things about it, but overall, I have no desire to rewatch Iron Man 2. It is a nothing film.
Okay.
Next on the list, Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a film that like I feel almost nothing. Like it's a case of like. It happened, and like if I could tell you how I felt about it is like it was. We're gonna get to Infinity War after our rankings. We don't want to reveal yet what's going on as far as our opinions on it. But yes. So anyway, Ant-Man. Like if I could tell you like my memory of it, it's literally like, oh, that's CGI to make him look younger is really good. Oh, here's some kind of fun antics with shrinking. The villain is somehow, like, pure evil because he shrinks, but, like, nobody else... That happens to nobody else. And it's really dumb. Like, he's a really lame villain. He literally, like, There's a scene where they're, like, in, like, his daughter's... They're in his daughter's, room, and then, like, he's like, oh, I'm going to, like, threaten your daughter. Like, he's, like, this corporate villain who's, like, selling stuff to Hydra, but he literally, like, shrinks down and goes into, like, this criminal's daughter's room to, like, threaten... It's, like, so embarrassing. Like... there's a lot of like bad jokes of like Evangeline Lilly's Wasp character being better than him, but she never gets any of the technology until the sequel, and it's like, oh, this movie would have been solved in 5 seconds if she had that. It's just like I feel
but there's a rift between her.
The whole thing about Edgar Wright leaving kind of hurts. The whole Hydra being like a business that literally goes into a building and like buys stuff is like really odd, and I feel like that was satire that Edgar Wright could have done better than the guy who did Yes Man. But overall, like, I just don't feel that for Ant-Man, and so I can't, like, even though it's objectively a better movie than some of the following ones, I just don't feel anything. Yes. So, next one, Thor: The Dark World. I'm kind of sad that it's so low because, like, I like Loki a lot in it, and like you said, I didn't finish the movie, but I know you like Darcy, Sal, but I just can't stand her.
I enjoy her. It's not like...
Yeah, it's a very... I wish Jane had more to do, given that she was possessed by an Infinity Stone. She's kind of just a damsel in distress.
Spoilers.
And then, so after, like, you get past Loki and the balls they had to kill Thor's mom, the movie kind of just doesn't really have a whole lot going on. Like, they have a few interesting moments, but overall it's just on the list. Then I put Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 infuriates me more than any other movie besides Thor Ragnarok. Oh.
Oh. Alright.
Thanks, Draven.
I love you.
But Iron Man 3 infuriates me with the Mandarin. It is, like, a clever idea that they play for comedy, and so I can't take the satire of our current political structure seriously because it is playing it as simply like, oh, by the way, you know how we were setting up an actual Mandarin? Oh, he was fake. For some reason, but these terrorist organizations think that he's real, even though this guy's an actor. and it makes no sense.
Also,
and
was he in charge of the 10 rings back in Iron Man?
We don't. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Don't try to figure it out.
I know.
They do the really cliche thing that's been done in Batman Forever and The Incredibles of, oh, look at this like nerdy guy who everyone bullied. He becomes like a really handsome, like really rich supervillain who's gonna like, yeah, it's embarrassing. It really is. It's bad. Pepper Potts gets extremis and she could actually like have powers and do stuff, and then they immediately take it away somehow. And they don't bother to do that for anybody else. And can you sense a theme here? Jane gets powers, could kind of do stuff. She gets powers. It's almost like we want to have like the illusion of women doing things, but they don't actually do things. After Iron Man 3, we have Civil War. This is extremely low on the list. Again, I love all the stuff between Tony and Steve. That stuff is flawless. Overall, the movie is bogged down by a plot that makes no sense. And really bizarre tonal shifts where we gotta cram Spider-Man in, and we have a bunch of jokes in an airport fight. Where if you want to break down like why Civil War infuriates me, is that it's a scene where they're at the airport fight, and it's this big emotional thing, and then Black Widow pins Hawkeye down, and then or the other way around, and they basically have an exchange that is, are we still friends? Yeah, sure. And it's like, this movie's about like clashing ideologies and about friends having to fight each other, and like you completely.
No, it's not.
So it's hard for me to watch them. Like it's like the beginning's great and the end's great, but it's like the middle and the end's great emotionally, but plot wise it makes no sense.
Yes.
After Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, kind of low on the list again. Guardians is like similar to what pretty much everything Nathan said. Like, I don't care about Ronan. There's a bit of cringe in it. Like there's a lot of stuff where it's like it's trying to be funny, and I'm not invested yet. It's kind of like Guardians was like they had to get you into this crazy world, and that is something that pays off better in Guardians 2.
Yes.
Doctor Strange is after that. Doctor Strange is kind of similar, where it's like really great visuals, really great world building. The villain gets one good scene of a monologue. Is gone. I love the way it ends. I love the solution to the problem where like the time stone is used to like take out that was genius. Like there's some emotional moments in it. I don't feel a whole lot for Doctor Strange himself. It's more like I feel for I feel for Tilda Swinton. I feel for like Benedict Wong. I feel for the villain, but I never feel like, what was the name of Doctor Strange love interest in that again? Does anyone remember?
She had a love interest.
Yeah, she was like an important part of the film, I guess. After Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, a much better version of the first film.
Yes.
I laughed a lot more genuinely, and they actually had a lot of drama, especially with Kurt Russell's character. Absolutely ingenious. Really great job with that. After that is Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming is the 4th best Spider-Man film, and that is a triumph, I think. But overall, it's like the actual plot of like how they adapt the Vulture is pretty clever. Spider-Man is pretty funny most of the time. I'm not nearly as invested as I am in any of the Raimi films, but it's a solid film that has a coherent plot and has some really tense moments. After that's Thor. Again, a competently made film, well put together. Kenneth Branagh's a good director. Few too many Dutch angles. Simple story, but overall I can't really put it lower because it is a very competently made film. After that, Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron would have been a lot lower than Civil War initial ranking, but I went back and I understand. I feel that Ultron could have been better. However, overall, I think the themes and the character arcs and the humor is handled a lot better than in Civil War and in some other ones. So Age of Ultron goes there. Next one, Big Hero 6. Gotcha. But yeah, Big Hero 6 would have been ranked there. It's a good film.
It is.
Did you legit right there?
It's a Disney Marvel film. No, but next is The First Avenger. I love this film a lot because it has genuine heart.
Yes.
It is a film that is shamelessly about people wanting to do the right thing. And that is in like very short supply of like heroes who actually like, genuinely want to help people. Steve Rogers, you instantly relate to him, but not in like a cheesy forced way.
Yes. It's
a great period piece. It's stylish. It's got a lot going for it. The third act's a bit weak. A little bit weak, but it remains there. We're getting to the good stuff now. Next, I actually moved it lower. Incredible Hulk. I have a lot of love for this film. It is so much better than what anyone says about it. It is a really tightly constructed thriller. Blonsky's a great villain. Ross is a great villain. Liv Tyler gives one of her better performances, and I don't like her as much as Jennifer Connelly from Ang Lee's Hulk, but she's still good. Edward Norton is a triumph. I think we can all agree that we like Ruffalo, but I gotta say these past 2 Ruffalo outings were a bit. I don't know what it is with his performance, but he's a bit weird. I can't really describe it, but even in Infinity War, it was like a bit. Okay, that's an interesting reading of that line. Like, it's not bad, but it's, I don't know.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Absolutely.
An insight on that? So before the film, I had a lot of free time, so I watched a bunch of interviews with Infinity War cast members. Josh Brolin was talking about how chatting with Mark Ruffalo was one of his big motivators to take on the role. Because he described what the motion capture setup was all like.
Nice.
Like all of that. And on his first day of filming, or on the day when his first day of filming with Mark Ruffalo, where they're both in their big CGI get-ups and all that, Mark Ruffalo walks up to him and he says, "I'm so done with this." And I'm sure that was played off as a joke, but thinking of that, I'm kind of like, I think I
get that off of him. You know, like these last 2 is like he's clearly having fun with his friends, but like I don't think he's really invested in the Hulk.
Yes,
and Banner as a character. So I honestly, I would have loved to see Norton's take.
Which I know gets to Infinity War. That explains why there's so little Hulk in that movie.
Yeah, it's readily apparent.
Continue.
Anyway, thank you for interjecting that because I did not know that. Thanks for doing the research.
Yeah.
After Incredible Hulk, The Avengers.
Very.
As I already illustrated when I interjected earlier, really, really well constructed film. Screenplay is very tight. There's a few weird lines of exposition, but overall, the way they set up like everything, like the Mind Stone, the conflict between the characters, everything is just so natural. It's honestly a great time, and it does reward repeat viewings. I think there's a lot more depth there than people realize.
Yes.
After the Avengers, Black Panther. Black Panther's a like really solid film that harkens back to like Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, like these films where it's like let's tell a story. Don't worry about the universe. You don't have to watch anything else. Just tell the story. Get us invested in these characters. Make me care about T'Challa, Wakanda, and Eric Killmonger, who is a great villain. Black Panther's a great time. It is not overhyped. It is as good as everybody says.
I think Black Panther, not to spoil anything for my listing, was the only Marvel film I saw twice in theaters.
I've seen Winter Soldier twice. I saw Anyway, after Black Panther, Iron Man. It's hard to describe Iron Man's feel, but it does feel kind of like it is that transitionary point from like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man era to the new era. And there's like something about that film that even like some of like other films that I love in this list, like Incredible Hulk and Iron Man, have this like feel of like where they're so humble. Like, they're so simple that they're trying to tell a really good story and a solid story, and it's not, like, so convoluted and caught up in all this other stuff. And it has that, like, really, like, Iron Man, like, as a film is, like, this kind of thing if you, like, took it out, like, from the context of the superhero genre and, like, gave it to, like, you know, like, you had, like, aliens take a look at, like, a bunch of random films from, like, eras. Iron Man would be a film where they would watch it and they would like, you'd be able to get something from that. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a really, really good film. Top of the list, Winter Soldier. I mean, same as you. Last and first, same. Because Winter Soldier is just basically the Dark Knight of the MCU.
Yes.
Like, it's like everything about it is well constructed, solid. Themes are fantastic. Acting is fantastic. Captain America is my favorite of the Avengers, and it's just Winter Soldier I can just watch anytime because it's fun, but it's also really deep, and it doesn't have to like force humor in there. Like all the characters that like when they have humor, it's like it's funnier because it's so well placed.
The humor in Winter Soldier is what the humor should be in all the Marvel films,
yes.
where it feels like people
actually
having fun, like joking around and bantering, whereas humor in a lot of it feels like very forced. And
we
like,
have to have a joke.
They said that joke because that's what's in the script anyway. And
so
I have to talk. Hi everyone.
You could have interjected at any point.
I know, but I wanted to get through because I want to talk about Infinity War really bad.
I know.
Anyway, my listing from worst to best. Number 18, Thor Ragnarok, literally is the worst film ever made. It is garbage. Everything about it is bad. Everything it could have done good, it didn't. It looked at it and went, you know what? That sounds like a good movie. We shouldn't do that.
It's one of the worst endings to a trilogy I've ever seen.
And I think it introduces, like, I'm sure there are people that can point out, no, this one has way more. I feel like it introduces the most amount of plot inconsistencies of any MCU film.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It does nothing. And then, spoiler for Infinity War, nothing at the Ragnarok fucking matters.
No, like...
nothing.
His lightning powers that could have just been something he already had.
He only uses them once. Spoiler for Infinity War.
Barely.
Once he gets a weapon again, then he uses lightning powers, but never before that. Even though they made a whole point in showing that he could do it without Mjolnir, which we all knew already because we watched the movies.
I guess you could argue that because of Thor Ragnarok, that's how we know that Loki has. Yeah,
you could still make that easily just cut and then just he has it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It does not matter.
So I want to I want to proceed with a word of caution.
Right.
These two did the research. I did not.
That's fair.
I think that overall I do not like the MCU.
Yes.
I'm not a fan. I don't care.
So.
This is the first Avengers I saw in theaters.
Oh wow.
Never.
Because he saw Age of Ultron with that bad cam and the audio separate.
And then I watched the first Avengers film at a party and barely paid attention.
Yeah, the time I watched it with him was the first time he had actually sat down to watch it, and he was like, "Oh, this is a good movie," and I'm like, "Yeah."
So you haven't really liked it from the start, like the build up to Avengers was not a hook for you.
No.
Wow.
Okay. So that's bad because like you and I were like invested in Phase 1 much.
We slowly died.
I don't give a shit.
All right, I'm really curious.
So a lot of these films I've not seen since they first came out.
Okay.
So if I feel like after because spoiler alert, we're gonna do a watch for the whole MCU, and once that happens, I feel like I'm gonna change a lot of my opinions on this.
Yeah,
so this is grain of salt time. 17, Thor 2: The Dark World.
Ooh, yeah. There you
Alrighty.
I think the best part of that evening was making out with my date during the movie because I was so bored.
It's boring.
It was so
boring.
bad and like dull and like gray. Like it was so Like we thought our airport scene was dull and bad with color grading, but Jesus Christ, Dark World is like just
it's literally a dark.
Hey, it lives up to the title.
You know what? Moved up in the ranking.
Genius.
16 is Thor. I remember because alright, I'm not gonna lie. I think that Thor is an awful character and Chris Hemsworth is not that good of an actor.
I will
nor
say,
is he really that fit for the role.
I will say, Infinity War, spoiler alert, was the best Thor. Well, there was some cringe, but he was the best he's ever been.
You know what? Yes.
I will. Okay.
I'll agree with
Chris
you.
Hemsworth's behalf also.
Oh, sorry, no.
First 8 minutes of Star Trek, Heart of the Sea.
Sorry, no. Avengers 1 and 2, Thor is really good.
Thor's really good.
So I would, never mind.
Yeah. So 15 is Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
For the reason of I don't fucking remember anything that happened in that movie. Like I tried because I didn't look up anything and I'm like, what the fuck happened in Iron Man 2? And I fucking couldn't. I'm like,
you're better off. You're better for it.
14 is Iron Man 3 because I love you, Ben Kingsley, but anyway. So number 13 is Captain America: Civil War.
Ooh, yeah.
I also hate that movie.
Yeah.
I think it starts off so good.
Yeah.
And then the airport scene happens, and I'm like,
it's such wasted potential.
Oh God.
Yeah.
After that, Doctor Strange.
Doctor.
Because again, it is beautiful, and like that guy has one good scene. Overall, I don't care about Doctor Strange. I think the best thing about Doctor Strange is later on when he pops up and he's just already Doctor Strange.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh, you're so much better.
Yeah, so much
Absolutely.
better.
Like once you're actually Doctor Strange, I'm like, I like you.
Yeah.
But like the build up to it, I'm like, this is just not good Iron Man.
We'll talk about him in Infinity War because I'm excited to talk about Doctor Strange.
Same.
11 is Avengers: Age of Ultron. Because it's another film where not only do I not remember a lot of it, but it didn't really impact anything. Not really.
Aside from Vision,
but like,
but even he kind of like his initial introduction is so high, and then afterwards it's like, oh, this guy's
he's
not as powerful.
Yeah.
Like initially he's so godly powerful, and then every movie afterwards.
And then after that, Ant-Man. Because I don't hate it as much as you guys. I think it's like I think it's like
I'm surprised that it's this low, to be honest.
Yeah,
it was fine.
It is fine.
It's fine.
It is a fine movie.
It doesn't offend me that much. It's just like,
wow,
that was like, I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't like choose to rewatch this if I had the chance. Like I just sort of like,
and that's fair.
But no, it's like right fucking in the middle because I'm like,
okay,
it's just, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Incredible Hulk. Because I remember having a lot of fun with that. And benefits
from rewatch. Just saying.
I will, yeah. 8 is Spider-Man: Homecoming. That's when it gets to the good shit, I think.
Yeah, we all have a point in our list where it's like, and I consider these good.
Yeah.
There's a divide. Homecoming, I think, is a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the fourth best Spider-Man film. I do like the villain. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's great. I love his like whiny voice, cracky like New York accent. Like, I think he's great.
I will say in my shitting on MCU's adaptation of Spider-Man, none of that is Tom Holland.
No.
Like, I think he has so much potential. I think if the MCU ever allows him to graduate from high school, I think that's when like he'll really start to shine.
And I do like his friends, and I think I think it's good. Yeah. Then the Avengers, the original Avengers. Marvel's the Avengers.
Marvel's Avengers Assemble.
If you see, I named it Marvel's the Avengers Infinity War.
We didn't. They didn't want you to confuse it with that '90s movie.
Well, that's based on a BBC. We're not talking about that.
Anyway,
we're not ranking that.
Good film, solid film, great. Joss Whedon, I fucking love you. Wonderful.
Yes.
Everyone has an arc. It's great.
Yes.
After that first Avenger, because I remember when I first watched it, I was like, I don't know about that, and upon rewatch, I'm like, no, yeah, that's a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man, El Clasique, very good. Black Panther, fucking amazing villain, great film.
Yeah.
Again, saw it twice. I loved it. Number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy. I do love Guardians of the Galaxy. I love how detached it is, and I love James Gunn. Aside from Super, everything else is great.
Slither.
Slither was good,
Okay.
but Super was not good. Super was bad. I don't want to talk about the rape scene, but
Yeah, we won't talk.
That's fair.
but the rape scene,
Spoiler for Infinity War. There's a lot of rape that happens.
graphic.
Being
After that, Guardians 2, because Guardians 2 is Guardians, but everything's better.
yes. Yes.
Sorry. Sean just texted me. I don't remember anything from Iron Man 2 either.
No. No.
You're better for it.
Yeah.
You're better for it.
You're stronger than I am.
Oh my god. And then, of course, number 1 is Winter Soldier.
I love how our first and last were all the same.
That's great.
That is brilliant. Okay. Any thoughts on that? Because I really want to just...
I want to dive in. I've been
Infinity
waiting
War.
for 40 fucking minutes.
All right.
And sitting quietly, like, being like, hurry the fuck up.
Okay, Infinity War.
Right. The balls.
The balls.
The balls. Like, literally, like, Kevin Feige was like, yeah, no one's really dying in these movies. We should probably clean shop.
I that might have been Feige. I really feel that might be Russo brothers.
I think it's Russo brothers.
Because I do feel like Civil War was hampered by, hey, Russo brothers, you need to have Spider-Man thrown in there. In this movie, they were given, like, almost complete creative control.
I think what is beautiful about the film is that it opens with 2 pretty major character deaths. Like, Heidel's been around since Thor. Like, both characters have been around since Phase 1.
Yeah.
And, like, one of them was a villain of the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And, like, instant fucking death.
Tone.
And so it immediately shows you that, hey, people are going to die in this movie, so you should be scared.
Yes.
Which is what in other films I didn't have, because I was always like, oh, they're going to be fine. It's whatever. But in this one, it set up that, hey, man, like, listen, expect people to die whenever.
Yes.
And I was legit, there's posts and I'm like, oh, he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like,
I also...
You very rarely ever have that feeling.
Especially in a fucking Marvel movie?
Yeah, in a Marvel movie, like, in an X-Men movie maybe, but, like, in a Marvel movie, you're
But out the gate, they were like, yeah, this is what we're doing.
And they keep Thanos in the shadows, and he has a full armor set from Guardians on.
And the fact that it starts with, like, this desperate, horrified transmission from the ship as the Marvel logo's coming in. I also love it for what it does to Thor Ragnarok, where that makes that final shot the actual funniest joke of
It is so funny.
Where it's like, all right, man, we survived Ragnarok. It's all good. Everyone's dead.
Just
like first second of the movie, everyone on that ship.
They didn't even show it. They did
Yeah.
because it would have been redundant.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Korg, what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, like
no, yeah. So remember Valkyrie?
no,
Remember Korg?
Like, I need a cigarette after that scene. Like,
Yeah.
no, you need a blunt. But no, instant tone setting. The film, again, like, as far as what Nathan and I feel about Guardians and some other humor and how it jives or doesn't jive, I will say the tonal shifting was much, much, much better handled in Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
It was, for the most part, it was really good. The only time it really bothered me was, even though it was funny, is when Drax interrupted Gamora telling Peter to kill her. Because that scene is like...
Yeah.
Oh.
I also think I also think in some of his interactions with the Guardians, I think Thor goes that half step too far, where it's like, this is already pretty funny. You're kind of tilting it the weird direction.
Not to go too deep into Ragnarok. One of our biggest issues is that Thor loses everything in Ragnarok, and he doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't.
And then in this film, it happens, and Chris Hemsworth tries to act, and Ashley is feeling bad about it. Then later on, he's back to his normal jokey self, and then he says a line.
Yeah,
and it's he doesn't say anything, but it's how he delivers it. Where he's clearly like, "If I don't joke about this, I'm gonna fucking break."
Yeah,
and I'm like, if you had done that in Ragnarok,
yes,
maybe you could have had a conversation.
Yeah, definitely. That as soon as that scene started, I was like, "Thank you." As soon as Rocket's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go console Thor," I was like, "This is what because Thor 1, his brother goes away, brother comes back. Kills people, tries to take over the world. Thor 2 loses his mom. Thor 3 loses his dad, has to kill his sister that he never knew about. This is a guy
and his hammer.
Right, his hammer gets.
Which is his best friend, basically.
Right, all this stuff, and we finally get a moment for.
And the Warriors 3.
Right, because I guess they were his friends. But anyway, he doesn't mention them in this movie, so I assume he just doesn't know.
I love when he was listing out the things he lost. He didn't mention Warriors 3, and I'm like, who the fuck cares? Where's Sif?
Well, he doesn't mention the Warriors 3, which is odd because it's like, did he assume they were on the ship? Were they on it so little of time that he had no time to check if the Warriors 3 were there? Anyway, fuck that. Fuck Ragnarok. But the point is that we finally get a moment for Thor to because when it's not in the Avengers movie, Thor sucks.
Yes.
When he's in Avengers movies, Thor is really good because he's Thor. He's just being
so
Thor.
Weird that he only works in Avengers.
Yeah,
it's because of Whedon's writing him, or at this point the Russos. I mean, because the Russos didn't write him. It's Civil War.
It's like what they're doing with Hulk is what they should be doing with Thor.
Right.
Where there shouldn't be Thor movies, there should be Hulk movies.
Right.
Universal.
Well, because I love how Thor became Superman in this movie. He was so overpowered as shit. He literally wiped out half the army by himself.
And can I just say, I didn't appreciate our theater laughing at giant Peter Dinklage.
Oh my fucking god!
Honestly,
when someone chuckled because they realized it was Peter Dinklage, I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Then there was the one where there was the guy in front of us who was delayed.
Yeah.
And he howled. He was like, ha ha ha! And I'm like, what is the joke there?
The thing about that is, I think I don't think the Russo brothers intended it like this.
No.
But the way that the audience responded was, oh, get it? He's a dwarf. And now he's a giant dwarf.
The joke, it's a very easy joke where it's it's not even a very offensive joke.
But he's a serious character.
Yes, that's the thing. I don't think that the Russos intended it as a joke. I think it was I think the joke was, hey, Thor calls them dwarves,
right?
But they're clearly fucking huge.
Yes, and they wanted the proportions that Peter Dinklage had.
Yeah, because Peter Dinklage is in physique.
But I think some of the audience was laughing for the wrong reasons. Because I definitely was like, can you just appreciate the man that he's acting?
And as he's and as during the scene where he's like, my entire people died.
Yeah.
My whole livelihood is ruined.
It's Peter Dinklage.
But okay.
And I think I leaned over to Nathan and I was like, did people laugh in Lord of the Rings when John Rhys Davies, who's a huge man, it was made a dwarf? No, they didn't.
Well, okay. Forgetting that, let's talk about how this movie was so well constructed, even paced. I would say, the first 20 or so minutes is definitely characters have to meet. But then once they settle them into who they're talking to, it becomes so much better. I love the Doctor Strange Tony Stark dynamic.
Yeah,
that was so good.
The two Sherlocks.
And I got
the two Sherlock Holmes.
And I gotta say, this is we were alluding to this, but this is probably my favorite iteration of Doctor Strange.
Oh, he's so good
because again, he feels human. Yes, there is humor there, but
he's the Sorcerer Supreme.
When he calls him douchebag.
When he calls him douchebag.
That was my favorite joke in the whole movie, probably.
Yeah.
Drax my favorite joke was?
My favorite joke was that Thor Ragnarok did. Anyway, so the movie it has three kind of plot lines in a way. And I gotta say, I was surprised with how well they handled him getting every stone. Because it was well paced enough where he got them slowly, but not enough where the whole movie was dragging. When is he gonna get the stone? Yes. I gotta say, one of my favorites is when he gets the Reality Stone, because he truly fucks with everybody there, and it's so good.
I remember there was a moment where I'm like, did Drax just get fucking murdered?
I think it's a bit convenient that as soon as he leaves, the reality stuff undoes on them, but they kind of made, in this movie, the reality stone, like, illusions.
Yeah, it was
rather
more
than...
illusions.
Actually, alternate
Because, like,
reality.
if you think back to Thor the Dark World, it was like, I'm literally going to change matter into antimatter. But in this movie, they were like, hey, I can, like, substitute reality with something else. But anyway, like, it was so well done, I don't even care.
And I never felt like I was being pulled in too many different directions. Like,
No.
all the characters, it actually worked, which was nice, because I didn't feel like I was too distracted. It was clear, like, who was the main character of what, and, like, how, and, like, I feel like, I don't know, it was just really well done, and, like... Yeah.
There was clearly some characters who had more importance, like, I would say Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Peter, Gamora, you could argue Cap, but Cap kind of...
Cap didn't really do much.
Honestly, Cap is surprisingly limited.
He gave, like, one speech, but I feel like this next part is going to be more of his movie.
I feel like this was the Iron Man one. This next one's going to be the Cap one.
Yeah. So
Cap was there, but it wasn't really that big of a deal.
He was
same with Black Panther, same with, like...
They did a good job of tying the threads from Civil War into Infinity War without it being, like, weighing down the whole fucking...
I'm glad there was a lot of Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle was really good in this movie.
Yeah, I was like...
Because I remember saying, like, oh, they just undid how he, like, broke his spine. And then I was like, no, he's a badass in this movie. Like,
he's kicking ass.
He stands up to Ross. He, like, blows up, like, whole chunks of the arm. Like, I liked War Machine in this movie a lot.
I also like how, I think it was in our private discussions about the film, how, like, we thought that the Vision shit was going to be super early. Like, the first stone's going to be Vision. Or, like, one of the first ones.
That was
but no, they were, like, the main... Like, I love how, like, Vision and Scarlet Witch were, like, the main points of the movie.
They were actually, like, the thread.
Yeah.
For the whole
movie.
Were
the Clinton Barton. Where it was, like, he's the main line. Even though he was not the main character.
I will say, because I was dead set on, like, well, if he gets the time stone, he just wins, so... For, like, the plot's sake, he has to get that one close to last. Well, because I was convinced we hadn't seen the Soul Stone, he would get that last, and holy shit, the Soul Stone stuff.
That scene is fucking incredible.
It's great.
So can I spoil?
Just talk about the Soul Stone scene, because from setup to end, that was...
So basically, the big thing is, Gamora was originally sent out to find the Soul Stone.
Which is why she's separate from Thanos.
Yes. Yeah. And she found it. She found the map to it. She burned it because she's like, fuck this, I don't want Thanos to get it. Thanos discovers this and takes her to where it is. And they go to this place. They go, I forget the name of the planet.
Yeah. It's called Hurt.
Yeah. Where there is the eclipse from Berserk in the background.
Which... that's got to be a reference, right? Like, there's a sacrifice, there's
a lake,
there's a lake, like,
or that symbolizes rebirth.
I gotta feel like that was a reference. Like, I know I read Berserk references and everything, but come on.
And so they go to this cave where they are greeted by this floating cloaked figure, and Sal's right next to me, getting really excited, going, "Oh, it's Adam Warlock." And I'm like, and I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with the comics, so I'm like, who the fuck is Adam Warlock? But this figure kind of leads them deeper into the cave, and I'm kind of like, what is that accent? That's, like, kind of familiar. And then the hood slips away, and it's fucking Red Skull. That fucking, like, plot thread that has been loose for 7 goddamn years.
2011.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And because you're asking, like, oh yeah, he's not gonna come back, so Red Skull's just been dropped. Like, where did that transport him?
Yeah, it's like a joke between us all. We're like, oh, Red Skull's
gonna come back.
Yeah,
and then he's in the movie, and I'm like, are you serious?
And oh man, and yeah, it's this great fucking scene. Where the Soul Stone will emerge when you sacrifice what you love, a soul for a soul, and great fucking moment of Gamora being like, "You fucking lose, bitch. You don't love anything," and she sees him just
and he cries.
The horror is that he does love you, and you're gonna get sacrificed now.
Yeah, and I love her reaction. She immediately tries to kill herself. He gets rid of her knife that he gave her.
Everything with Gamora and Thanos was perfect.
What I wanted.
It was perfect. I would not change a single thing about any of those scenes. They were great.
See, I was when going into this movie, so I was expecting to like this movie a lot. Like, when the first trailer came out, I was like, I don't know, I have fatigue. But as I got closer and closer, I couldn't stop myself from getting excited.
Yeah.
So I was prepared for my big complaint of this movie. I wanted it to be longer. I wanted this to be the 3-hour one. Like, they could do more. Everything's paced really well.
Everything was paced really well.
like, I'm sure if I really thought about it, I could think of things where you could stretch it out more.
The stuff with the Hulk was definitely like a loose, like, they kind of implied the Hulk was afraid of Thanos, but Thanos wasn't present at that second battle, so it was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's like a weird thing.
Well, that is, when you brought up the Ruffalo's kind of weakness with the Hulk, that's kind of what's impacting my ranking where it's gonna end up being. So spoilers for that.
Okay.
When we re-rank with Infinity War.
Continue, sir.
But yeah, so he sacrifices Gamora, and gets the Soul Stone, and I think that's the last. Does he? No, he does. Yeah, so he gets the Soul Stone, and then we get the confrontation between him and the partial Guardians of the Galaxy, partial Avengers, who had a meetup beforehand. The Titan team. Who I'm so
they do a good job.
They do a great job. I love how when they first encounter each other, I think it's Drax, Star-Lord, and Mantis who meet up with Stark, Strange, and Parker. And of course they don't know each other at all. 3 and 3. And they go at it against each other because you're on Thanos' homeworld, Thanos' ship. They assume they're working for Thanos. And I was so sad because there's a moment where they have their little Mexican standoff where Tony's prepared to blow Drax apart and Quill's prepared to blow Peter away. And he says, like, who the F are you? Or calm the F down. And I'm like, man, this is your 19th movie. Fucking break that barrier. Fuck. Like, you get one. You're PG-13. You can do it. And they came right up to that cliff and they backed down, and that is a disappointing moment for me, especially since Quill was playing it off. Like, I feel like Quill is a bit more comedic in this film than he is in Guardians of the Galaxy.
In 2, definitely. Yes. Like, I will say Quill was one of the weaker elements of Infinity War for me. Yeah. Definitely. Like, a lot of the stuff was him. Like, I get that his character is to make jokes, but I would not be insulting Thanos when he has Gamora, like, in his, like, some of it was definitely like, and the fact, like, there's this weird recurring joke of him, like, not being team leader, where I feel like that's, like, kind of been established that he is, but
I think it's just Rocket, like, just being a dick.
Yeah, but then everybody wasn't listening. Like, they made a point of, like, making it like, nobody's listening.
Yeah, when they're wandering through nowhere, the joke is, no one's listening. But then, to be fair, they do make it the unfunny moment of when he's faced with the consequence of killing Gamora, keeps going, and she went left. That was good. Like, that was real good. That did help pay it off a bit. But yeah, the absolute trash that was getting thrown Star Wars Leia, I didn't appreciate it, especially after seeing Guardians 2, where it's like, no, that man, like, he's been through so much.
Like, give him a break, goddammit.
Yeah. I do love him raging at that.
That was great.
I don't like him smacking him because that was stupid. But when he's like,
he hits Mantis's hand.
Yeah,
it's like,
he.
I don't understand why he wouldn't just shoot him in the fucking face.
Yeah,
like, he shot his dad. He tried to kill his dad, like, in Guardians 2, it was like, no, and he just shoots him, like, 15 times.
I wish.
As soon as he finds out that I know that his mother was a trigger, but, like, Gamora would be as much of a trigger. And the fact that he didn't just, it wouldn't kill him, but the fact that he didn't try to instantly kill Thanos was just, like, plot? It was the one thing in the movie where I was like, okay, plot convenience. Peter Quill has to be, an idiot and let Thanos get away. But I love the build-up to that scene where they were all restraining him. That was... Yeah. That was so good.
And the fact that Peter Parker managed to pull off the Infinity Gauntlet, even for a fucking second.
Yeah, it was off his hand. He was grabbing the inside of it.
Yeah, he was literally grabbing, like, the edge like that.
Like, they were this fucking close.
Well, because, see, the thing about the movie is it was throwing so many curveballs, I thought that he might lose the gauntlet there.
Yeah.
And that Nebula might get it or something.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, because that's in the original comic, spoiler alert, for the comic from 1990. Yeah. But Thanos was perfection. Absolute perfection. Josh Brolin is...
Holy shit.
Like, I know everybody was saying, like, oh, he's the best villain in the MCU, and I'm like, well, like, he'll probably be really good, but will he be the best? And, like, unlike Ultron, no ham.
Let me see if I can focus.
Yeah. Oh, well, I will sit in the shadows. But just... it's a joke. As in the movie. But, just the way that, like... He had the menace, but the way that they made Thanos sympathetic and relatable and human was awesome. Absolutely really wonderful. Like, the end shot being him was so gut punch, but, like, Thanos was the main character.
Yeah, I love
it was his character arc that was driving the movie.
So there's a bit of this response that I have gathered from some people. So originally this was going to be Infinity War Part 1 and 2.
Right.
They dropped that label, so everyone was like, "Oh, they aren't going to be connected," which is stupid because from the start, this is why you people are dumb that are like, "Oh, this I don't like it. They lead into each other." They were filmed all together. It was always going to be Part 1 and Part 2, even if it isn't in name. That was always going to be the case. That was never like dropped. And I think the big thing is, I think someone on the production, I believe it was the Russo brothers, said that it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. And you could argue that it does, but I will argue that it doesn't, because they also said that Thanos is the main character. Yes. And Thanos has a beginning, middle, and end. He achieves his goal. Yeah. This is Thanos' movie.
It is a complete story.
Yeah, it's a complete story. Like, you can end it there.
Like, it has like a the elements of a cliffhanger. Like, what will they do to undo this? But it's like, no, that is a complete story. They failed, and Thanos won. Because he is literally the protagonist of a film, for lack of a better. Like, it's really interesting. Like, he goes on a journey through the film. Like, he kind of questions himself at points, never like wavering in his resolve, but realizing things about stuff he might have done differently.
What I'm really interested in, and I'm wondering if they'll address this in the next movie. Yeah. But the scene where he realizes he has to sacrifice Gamora, he mentions that he had to sacrifice his dream once, and he couldn't do it again. Yes. So I'm wondering if that will come back in Part 2, and maybe that will explain why he didn't go from the start himself.
I think so. I think Thanos, like, what I liked about the movie was it didn't like directly say like, oh, why didn't Thanos immediately go after with the children, go and get all the stones? Yeah. Why did he play it like kind of safe? I kind of saw it as he didn't like, I don't know, the way they like not address it but make it okay, because it's like, I feel like Thanos is like a contemplative kind of person, and you know, but I think they might address that, because again, like in that last scene, do you remember he doesn't have the gauntlet on, so he has his little hut.
No, he does have the gauntlet.
He has it on.
Yeah, he doesn't have it when he goes to the weird soul world with young Gamora.
Right, because that's within the gem, so it makes sense. Yeah, but it's like a case of he doesn't have the gauntlet. He has his hut there, so I assume he just has it with him. But it's like, so if the next movie is the search for Spock, like to bring everybody back, we need the Genesis planet. You know, we need the Infinity Gauntlet. I assume that that's how Thanos will be dragged back in. As like, it'll be interesting though, because I doubt that he'll. Like, will he try to prevent them from getting it because it would undo his goal? Is that why he would be another antagonist, or is he just gonna go, whatever, I won? Yeah, I don't know.
I almost,
because what would his endgame be? Like, if he wiped out half the universe's populace, is he like, well, there's no one strong enough to wield this power, so nobody can undo it, which is so I can just rest easy now.
I almost think it will be that they won't confront him at all until the end. Like, okay. I feel like it will be like the search for Thanos.
The search for Thanos, yeah. Thanos will return as the ending reminder. Yeah, which is so cheeky.
Like I feel like, because Thanos' goal is complete. Yes. And they legitimately are not a threat to them, so I feel like he wouldn't... And again, unless they do something that I can't predict, I don't think he has the motivation to go and wipe them out individually. No. So I think they'll go...
he has no desire to.
Yeah, so I think they'll go looking for him, and maybe they'll like come across like remnants of his army, which I would assume also got half of taken out.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't discriminate.
Yeah. Yeah, he mentioned that before. So I'm assuming like they'll confront Thanos at the very end of Infinity War Part 2, which isn't the official title. And from there, it's anyone's guess what that will be. Yeah. But there's also rumors that there will be time travel, like they've been spotted in costumes from the first event.
Well, because again, my theory for this movie was that's how they get a chance, is that Doctor Strange sends someone back in time, and then the time stone gets taken, so Thanos might follow that person through time to stop them. But that's not how it happened at all. The Mind Stone was the last one. Thanos didn't really use the Soul Stone's power at all. Which I don't know how it works in this universe, because in the comics it's like...
Use it to take everyone's soul.
Oh yeah. So funny thing. So not funny thing. Really fucking.
No, Barry, this is a funny. Wait, what?
The planet's name is Vormir.
Vormir.
I was
Vormir.
gonna say Vormir, so I was off by one. So when I went into this, I think you were in a similar mode.
Right.
I was thinking that Cap was gonna die.
Yes.
And Stark was gonna die.
Yeah.
Maybe Thor was gonna die, but I doubt it. Maybe Hulk was gonna die, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I think Ruffalo's getting to the end.
I think
at this point.
Yeah, Ruffalo's kind
of. So Hulk
done.
might die in the next movie.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But they're pretty much the only ones alive.
Yes.
At the end of it.
Which worked for me because at first I was like, hey, you have to kill an OG Avenger.
Yes.
But the fact that they have to live with everyone they love being dead, that's worse.
Why is that a focus?
I don't know.
I think because you left.
We've been
We were
trying. You ruined everything.
I'm sorry, guys.
Nah, it's okay. No
Here, let me
worries.
sit down.
Kind of like Thanos.
I apologize.
And immediately, that's
No.
that's
No, don't worry about it. They just
Whatever.
need to hear it. It's the escape pod.
Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, yeah, like the Soul Stone, because in the comics, the Soul Stone can literally change someone's alignment, basically. You could turn someone literally to chaotic evil just by going, you're chaotic evil now.
See, I feel like
So I wonder, I think the Soul Stone, what they're going to do in the films is, it's a place to the where everyone who's dead is.
Yeah, because I've heard that
There we go. Manual focus.
one of
bitches.
their beautiful.
Revisit bitches.
Revisit bitches.
I've heard that one thing that has been referenced to is when you are killed by an Infinity Stone, you aren't killed.
Well, because you might become part of their soul. Well, does that include when he?
That's what I'm wondering. So because I've heard the big caveat of all deaths are permanent, but I've also heard the caveat of getting killed by the Infinity Stone doesn't count.
Well, that means like Loki and Heimdall are.
Yeah. So everyone that wasn't turned to ash will probably come back. I don't think Gamora will come back in the next one. I think she will come back at the end of Guardians 3.
Maybe Guardians. I think Guardians 3 they might do a search for Spock.
Yeah, because I think we talked about how
it's the third movie.
It would be like they get Adam Warlock and they do some Soul Stone
Adam
shit.
Warlock would be the. It makes sense for Adam Warlock to be in part 3.
Yeah.
Because it's all he's like in the Soul Realm. You'd probably have to like do a bit on him because in the comics he had been killed by Thanos. That's why he's in the Soul Realm. Whereas in this universe, if he's not dead, or unless Thanos fought him at some point, or
that's a possibility.
No, but yeah.
So do we want to do our? Is there anything else we want to address?
There's so much, man. Like,
do our rankings?
I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts aside from like?
I am really happy we got like, because there was a period of time when like after Lord of the Rings was around, there was a good like couple years where like everyone was doing big film battle scenes.
Yeah.
And it kind of petered off.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's back.
This was definitely in that, like, that was a great large-scale fight scene.
Yeah.
That you were right. That was bringing back kind of like how The Mummy Returns, Lord of the Rings, all those movies were like...
I think when the fight started in Nathan, I was like, the Scorpion King.
Yeah, the Scorpion King.
Anubis.
Yeah. No, those monsters, like, I like how they kind of didn't explain them.
Yeah, they're just fucking terrifying.
They're just terrifying. Like, I did like how the Chitauri came back.
Yeah.
How they made a point of, like, the Chitauri were serving him back when he got Gamora, and then there was at least one Chitauri on his ship.
Yeah.
I also like you get a slight power scaling with the post-credit scene where Nick Fury and Mariah Hill are like, oh, there's an attack. It's like, oh, is it like the one on New York? No, it's like 10 times worse. It's like, okay, so these monsters are like 10 Chitauri.
Right.
Fine.
Oh, and Captain Marvel setup.
Yeah, which I like because Captain Marvel is probably one of the only people who can like legit fight Thanos. Like,
where the fuck's she been?
Well, okay, what you could do is...
I still like the idea that she's a Green Lantern, like, protecting an area of space, and then Nick Fury calls her, like, hey, so, I need you to meet up with Cap.
Yeah. That's the next film is,
The next film's called Marvel
Thanos
Infinity.
Wins.
Thanos will return.
No, I love,
I fucking made that as a joke so many times.
That is so fucking
That the
funny
end of
to
the
me.
credits, like, because all the Marvel movies since, like...
That's the funniest joke in the whole movie, honestly.
It is. I think... Was it starting with Iron Man 2 where they started doing this character will return, blah, blah, blah?
I don't know if they did it, like, in Phase 3 or
they didn't do
Phase
it for
2.
all of them, obviously, but, like...
Phase 1 they did.
Phase 1 they did. I think they did for... Not for Guardians,
no.
But I think they did for the 3 core Avengers.
Yeah.
They did an Ant-Man will return.
in Civil War. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
But for this one, I made the joke so many times that it was going to be like, no, it's just going to say Thanos will return, and they fucking did it at the very end, and that was that made me smile.
Almost all of my predictions came true though about Loki and
though I think we all kind of talked about how we thought the Cap was going to be dead, and then Bucky would take up the mantle, and then like
Nathan and I were talking about how a little bit of that when you were gone about how maybe next movie is since it's Cap movie he dies then. And then Bucky becomes Captain America.
I also thought that like they faked out in the trailers of showing them that classic wide shot of them all running.
Yeah.
And it's Black Panther's there, Falcon's there, Bucky's there, but at the end of this film, that shit never happens. And also Hulk is there.
They had like a slight Hulk was there.
Yeah.
So my prediction
I forgot
is
about
that. That is a cock tease, and that's the end of the next movie. After they fix all the stuff.
They rewind time so that Hulk is there at the battle and he turns the tide. And other people, but...
And then they're able to stop Thanos and then drive back all the force, and that's them running out after they defeat Thanos. Like, fuck yeah, bitch! Avengers.
He doesn't say his... this does put a smile on my face.
No, he did not say it.
Yeah.
He did not say it. That was
fun isn't something that one thinks about him.
Well,
I thought he was going to say it when he was beating the shit out of Hulk, to be honest.
All his other lines... There were slight paraphrases in some cases.
Yes.
But all his lines from the trailers got said except, fun isn't really something one considers about.
And everyone was waiting for the whole fucking movie.
I was. I thought it was going to be at the end.
There was a surprisingly small amount of Thanos cheese, I will say.
Oh, there was almost no Thanos cheese.
Because
I felt for fucking Thanos.
It was really interesting. Again, like...
Wait, a good Marvel film?
My feeling with Thanos is similar to how my feeling has been with Infinity War. Was when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh man, Josh Brolin doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
like, this is going to be so ham. And then, like, the next one, I was like, okay, there's going to be a little of both. Like, there's going to be some ham, but there's going to be a lot of good core moments here. Mm-hmm. But then when you get to the film, it's like, no, there's almost no ham. Like, this is a really good fucking performance. Like, I think the one... I'm again, thinking more, I'm sure there's a couple moments, but I think the one that sticks out the most to me is when... Quill tries to shoot Gamora and it turns to bubbles and he's like, I like him. And then he just, like...
yeah.
Although you could argue that is not ham and that's, like, a character thing, which...
it was.
It's a little both.
I don't... Like, more of the ham was, like, about how people reacted to Thanos. Like,
yes.
It was more like, Grimace or whatever he called him.
Yeah.
But Gamora, Man, like, I care about her character so much more. Like, it makes the previous two films better.
Yes.
Like, it really does.
Because
when they're talking about, Thanos was terrible, it's like, well, we don't see that. Like,
there's like, a couple moments in Guardians 1 where she, like, gets... Like, I think it's when she's trying to convince them to stop Ronan, and she's, like, like tearing up. It's like, no, we have to save these people. And for whatever reason, I just couldn't connect with that. And I was like... I don't know, that feels really off for her character, but I feel like this is what really solidified her character for me.
Right.
And I really love the payoff to her and Quill, because the end of Guardians 2, which again, I watched for the first time just a couple weeks ago in Prepper. I did not see Guardians 2 or Spider-Man.
That must have been interesting.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, at the end of Guardians 2, I love how they end things with Gamora and Quill, where it's like, there's some unspoken thing. Like, they both acknowledge it, but they're not going to act on it. And then this is the movie where it's like, well, we probably don't have that much time together. Yeah. It's pretty much what they go. So it's like, okay, this is the acknowledgement. And then...
And again, the movie, contrary to my belief that it would end with the snap, it takes its time to show you everyone going through the pain of losing someone they care about. Which was, so good.
I love the fucking fake out of Black Panther. Like, he's reaching for this down general, and it's like, that general's gone. Panther starts fading. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I love that, because even though I know there's going to be Black Panther 2, the fact that, like, in the second or third outing, Black Panther just fucking disappears. That's really good. I also love the scene, even though he didn't die, of Iron Man getting, like fighting Thanos, like, straight up and, like, giving his all, and Thanos just fucking stabs him.
I love it. I love it. They've, like, because this has been... I love how they've built this up. I like this so much more, his bits in Age of Ultron, but, like, this is what Tony has been waiting for since Avengers. Like, he's been thinking about the big threat, the big end game, like, the final villain.
The way he's like, yeah, he got in my head.
Yeah.
And now it's my time to like pay him back because he's like Tony. He was the guy behind New York.
Yeah.
Like that was one of Ruffalo's better scenes. Is when he's like, he was the one behind New York.
Yeah. It's like no, Thanos is coming, and oh man.
Yeah, I would say the only weak elements of the film really are just the opening. Like they have to kind of say like, oh, Thanos is coming. I'm like, you don't even really know who that guy is. Like you're just being told that's bad, and you're saying like, oh, Thanos.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. You gotta like get that opening. Like that again. People were telling me that the opening was gonna be like really frantic, like cutting, and it was
yeah, I was told sensory overload was what to expect.
And also, there was enough explanation for who Thanos was, so even if you'd been like ignorant of what was happening, there's two scenes where they're like, "This is Thanos, and this is what he does and what he's about."
Yeah. Well, because even the previous movies were like really vague on what Thanos even did in his spare time. He kind of just did.
Also, there's a nice filmmaking technique of setting up the snap, reminding you about the snap, and then actually happening.
That again, like this film is so much better,
perfectly balanced.
It was like the film was so well constructed.
The film and all of its characters perfectly balanced.
Perfectly balanced.
No, really, like, I never felt like I was too overloaded by what was happening.
No,
no characters.
No character, like no character.
Because they were split up enough.
Yeah.
Like I liked how Thor and Rocket and Groot were off doing a little mission of how the Guardians were together, and then like you also had Tony, Strange, and Parker, and then like they kind of converged. We had enough time with them separately to kind of get it, and then like you had the other crew, which was sort of like mainly about Wanda and Vision, oddly.
Yeah.
And then like,
which I was glad because they're when you look at like the scale, like what the universe has set up, they should be way more important than like Civil War and some other stuff set them up to be.
I'm glad that there was only one scene of Paul Bettany looking like Paul Bettany. Yeah. And then he just switches to Vision. I'm like, perfection.
It was clearly a mirage, to be kind of sincere.
Oh, well, yes. Yeah. Yes, it clearly was. I like
that. So like, whenever I saw it in the trailer, I'm like, please don't do that the whole movie.
Yes. Because again, like, there's things like Ruffalo's clearly tired. Scarlett Johansson does not want to dye her hair because she only has like 10 lines the whole movie at most.
Yeah. And I like her in the blonde. It's sort of they changed themselves because now they're under.
Oh well, that's the in-universe X. Yeah. The first trailer she looked really weird and odd. Yeah. It was like her eyebrows, I think. I agree. But like, in the movie it looked like so much better, and I'm like, okay, I'm cool with this. But like you can tell like certain people are like.
Some people are.
Somebody Paul Bettany was like, hey, can I have like a scene when I'm like. Yeah. It's kind of like the Mystique thing where Jennifer Lawrence is like, oh, I don't want to be in the Mystique.
Yeah, and Ruffalo not doing the Hulk. I love it because like in the film it's like, come on, buddy, and you're like, oh yeah, because the scenes that happen, we all run at the camera, and you're waiting for it the whole movie, and they use the trailer to fuck you because we talked about it in the elevator ride up where like there was the original trailer at Comic-Con before Ragnarok came out.
Yeah, before Ragnarok.
And it showed Thor without an eye patch. And then, like, we watched Ragnarok, and the trailers came out, and he had an eye patch again. There was a show for Infinity War where he was doing the thing, and he had an eye patch, and I'm like, they keep taking on and off the fucking eye patch CGI.
Yeah. Which is an odd choice, because if you're gonna casually undo Ragnarok, why worry about CGIing it out of trailers? Like, that's not a spoiler if it's just, like, some... Like, it's not a spoiler if it's literally you, like, telling another film to fuck itself. Like, if you really don't care about it, then why care about it if the audience sees that?
That was Disney. That was... Like,
okay, they were like, oh, we need to, like, make them think.
Like, the trailers before Ragnarok were like, oh, we can't let them know that he lost an eye, blah, blah, blah. But then, once Ragnarok came out, they were like, well, they know he lost an eye. We can't make it look like that didn't matter. Which it doesn't.
But, yeah, overall, fantastic film. I think we should quickly do our rankings, and then we'll do any closing thoughts.
I don't know where I put it. I'm not sure.
I'll tell you where I put it. Again, I am putting a strong caveat that I just saw the movie. It is one of the more emotional Marvel films. It is one of the more epic Marvel films. So hindsight and time might lower it on the list. For right now, I'm ranking it third under Winter Soldier and Iron Man.
Mine would be around there if I had to put it somewhere.
I mean, like, yeah, Black Panther and the first Avengers and the Incredible Hulk, like. The problem is, like, when I like an MCU movie, like, they're more close together.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I mean, I'm not going to rank Infinity War down, like, after Age of Ultron or anything, but it'll probably hover around in that section. But I'm going to put it third. Like, it's a fantastic film. Like it pays
Thank
off.
God. I was like,
Thank goodness, because we were all like worried that it was going to be like bad and a mess, and that.
so I was like, this is my first time watching a Marvel film or Avengers film in theaters. Please, God,
Let it be good.
please don't Ragnarok me.
And after Civil War, I did not trust the Russo brothers
No.
to pull it off.
But clearly, Civil War was them like getting their feet with all the characters.
Yeah, because Winter Soldier was so much more focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is like they got it. They
what about you,
fucking
Nathan?
understand it.
So I think originally I was either gonna tie it or put it ahead of Winter Soldier. But looking at it, Mark Ruffalo is such a fucking weak point. And it's not, and I know it's not his fault. Like, I'd be in the same position, but just no fucks given.
I also want more Benedict Wong. He just sort of like
He was there, and then he's like, "Oh, I have to protect the Sanctum." I'm like, dude,
reality's crumbling.
Like, who is honestly gonna like attack the
the
Sanctum?
perfect time to strike.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
What
Oh no!
Go.
Doctor Strange 2. Benedict Wong's the only one at the Sanctum. Just watch, like, Mordo comes back, just fucking owns him. That's the opening of Doctor Strange 2. I'm calling it right fucking now. That's why. So you can have an opening scene with Benedict Wong getting his shit kicked.
That would be pretty cool.
Anyway, go ahead.
But
Hey, where's Modo? Moho?
Mordo? No. Remember, he was going to kill every magic user in the world. That was his goal. So I assume eventually it's going to be like Jedi Purge levels, where the next movie is going to be like, oh, Benedict Wong and Doctor Strange are like 2 of like 5 people. Yeah. Everyone else is dead. So.
But yeah, so I had heard beforehand that I still thought he was going to show up at the end, but I had heard that after his encounter with Thanos, Hulk wasn't allowing the transformation.
Right.
I had heard about that. I had heard that he was like scared of that. So that sounded really cool.
I
wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But they play it off for laughs, and that greatly decreases.
Yeah. I was expecting like a big scene of him going like, they're like, hey, why isn't the Hulk coming? He's like, I'm scared, man.
Like
Thanos. Like in that scene, I want to like people who have seen it, people who haven't. Thanos literally, without using, from what I could tell, the Infinity Stone's power, just beats the shit out of the Hulk and like leaves him.
That's what's great, because it opens with 2 major character deaths, and then he kicks the shit out of the Hulk
with like martial arts and like barely using the Infinity Stones at all.
Like Hulk lands a few hits because he's caught off guard, but after that, oh man,
yeah.
But yeah, so I was. And again, it's something.
It's like the PTSD in Iron Man 3, where you're like, I feel like that's a really good dramatic point to.
And it's also like looking at this and looking at Thor Ragnarok. I think the MCU just doesn't know how to write Hulk. I think they're still under the impression that he's just a dumb brute, and there's so much more to his character.
I think the thing about Incredible Hulk, the reason that it is also like really like people say it doesn't count to the MCU, it sets up the fact that he can control the Hulk.
Yeah.
The Hulk has a character arc between Incredible Hulk and the Avengers, and even to Avengers: Age of Ultron, because in that one, I believe Joss Whedon, it's not canon, but like it was something they kind of cut from the movie. He was originally going to become a Gray Hulk when he got his rage unleashed, so it was going to be like the Hulk's dark side, not Banner's dark side. So the Hulk has like a character arc between like all the movies he's in until Thor Ragnarok, and then it just fucks it up.
But yeah, so I think just by dint of that, I would lower it to second place. I would say just really, really phenomenal. Great job with the villain, which is the thing that Marvel has not been able to do. But they're now on a 2-film streak. So
they've done it in a few cases. Like Killmonger and Thanos are probably some of the most sympathetic. Like Loki has been good.
Yes,
but he's had multiple films.
Yes.
So, like, given, like, the initial... Because we all agree Loki was weaker in Thor.
Yes.
Than he was in Thor the Dark World or the Avengers.
Yes.
But, like, there's a case... Like, Tim Roth was good. Obadiah Stane was good. Tim Roth was... Blonsky was sympathetic to an extent.
Yes.
But they were both good villains. Justin Hammer's awful.
Yes.
They cut Mickey Rourke scenes. Red Skull was good. He was simple. He was a Nazi. He wanted domination. Yeah. But, I wouldn't call him, like, a great villain, but he was a good villain for the period piece that it was.
I like him a lot more than I probably would, by dint of the fact that he's Hugo Weaving. That just gains a lot of points for me. But
Iron Man 3, terrible villains. Thor Dark World, Malekith's bad. Loki's good. Like Ant-Man, bad. Age of Ultron kind of sucks, but the twins are good.
I'm trying to think. Spider-Man Homecoming. Good villain in that.
Vulture was sympathetic.
Yes.
He was good. I feel Vulture was like the beta version of Killmonger and Thanos, where they're like, we can have them out and out, like, you know, because Vulture was like really like getting into that, like, I'm doing this for my family.
Yes, that was so good.
But anyway, Sal, you gotta do your ranking real quick. Just tell the audience roughly where you would put it.
And then we can be done. Then we can rest.
Then we can rest.
Our half hour to an hour, aka hour and a half.
We're not longer than the movie though. So.
God.
I had to put it at probably under Captain Marvel and a little
Put it under Big Hero 6.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Around like from 2 to 7. Somewhere in there, it's gonna fall.
Agreed. Like for mine, it was the same thing. Where like 2 through 6. It'll.
I am going to have to now rewatch the entire MCU, and I hate that. Cause
we'll do it for the show.
I'm trying to read the Wheel of fucking Time and beat Nathan, but like.
Fuck you.
Well, the reason why I got so far ahead of you because you had to watch the MCU.
Fuck you. Yeah, that's true. Now I'm gonna devour that shit.
But anyway,
Buy Fire and Blood on November 20th.
Anyway, closing thoughts and.
Thank God this was a good movie.
Thank God. And then we all liked it about equally.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to say this since like the first Avengers,
but I'm excited for the next.
I can't wait for the next Avengers film.
No, I can't wait. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Hey Sean, do you want to give any thoughts on the Avengers?
10 out of 10 on IGN. Too much Thanos.
You don't want to say hi to the people?
Our millions of viewers.
I think it's cool that Sean's like this phantom.
Yeah.
He's the Red Skull that's floating around over there, and we're like, oh, tell us what you think, and then he
keeps telling us to sacrifice what we love. It's really awkward.
Yeah. Anyway,
and he paid more attention than we did. Since
but yeah, no, this is now again reiterating. This is a complete story. Yeah. This it's a cliffhanger, but it's not.
Thanos wins.
Thanos wins. It was his story.
If the MCU ended here and
if
if Marvel shut down tomorrow,
I'd be like,
and everything fucking died, and there was like a lock on all the IPs for like 20 years, I'd be like, you know what?
Okay.
Fucking great.
Yeah. Now I think the big thing is not to fuck it up next time, because like if this is like so I think they've designated that Phase 3 technically ends after the next part.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Feige's even said after Phase 3 we're not doing phases anymore, which is good.
Okay.
But also bad.
Yes.
It's bad just because they will be more like Phase 2 where they were even more unfocused.
Yeah, very directionless.
But at the same time,
I want to allow films to just sort of do their own thing.
Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther.
Like that. The reason that was really good is it's like. Yeah.
And I loved how like in these later phases they were more comfortable with just having other heroes pop up in stories and not.
Yeah.
As bad as
Doctor Strange was in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, as bad as Thor Ragnarok was, I did like the fact that like, oh yeah, Doctor Strange helps him get back to where they need to go, and I'm like, you know what? That's fucking comic books. Oh, we need a thing. Hey, we know Doctor Strange is a person. Let's just go and every time I fucking move it, shake the fucking God. Damn it. Yeah, I like the idea that just ends the stream. I like the idea that like we have so many characters that like, hey, this person would be good for this specific problem. Let's just use them. Crazy. Weird.
Amazing.
And I like it. I'm just like just do more of that, please.
Yeah, honestly, I'm Ant-Man and the Wasp
looks better than the first Ant-Man.
I think Ant-Man and the Wasp will rank towards
higher.
The upper
half.
I honestly do. I think that they will with that dynamic. The fact that they've kind of settled Ant-Man and Paul Rudd got better in Civil War. I liked him a bit more in Civil War.
It was interesting because so rewatching it, the thing I observed.
Don't go too far into the hole. But yes.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how
my boyfriend made me food, so I'm gonna go eat it now.
I get you.
Go eat it.
It's interesting to me how
Ant-Man's a good movie.
It's interesting to me how the straight man of the comedic films becomes more the comedic character of the straight films. Because that's kind of how Quill is from Guardians to Infinity War, and that's kind of how Ant-Man is from Ant-Man to Civil War.
Yeah.
So Ant-Man 2 looks good. The only thing I've only watched the trailer once, so I think the one thing that threw me off was how Hank Pym was like, no, I had these wings.
That's bad.
I just didn't give it to you.
That's them trying to explain away why the first movie was bad. and it doesn't work.
It makes it worse.
The thing is, Ant-Man and the Wasp is harmless.
Yes.
It's not gonna give me fatigue, because if I do happen to watch it in theaters, I'm sure it'll be better than the first one, which progress is always good. Yeah. Captain Marvel, based on what you've told me, I'm really fucking excited for.
It sounds very interesting.
Like Captain Marvel being a period piece in the 90s, kind of like X-Men Apocalypse did. Or, no, that was the 80s, sorry. The idea for the Dark Phoenix is to do it in the 90s.
Yes.
But doing Captain Marvel in the 90s, kind of making it that X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past, more period piece. The fact that they're bringing back Ronan so we can get more development with him. Like, we can actually see him fighting his enemy, because, like, we didn't in Guardians. He had this vendetta, and then he was going to use the stone against Xandar, because Xandar was helping?
Yeah.
It makes no sense, but, like, in this movie, he can get more development. Nick Fury and Coulson are in it, and Coulson's, like, in an MCU movie for once.
Yeah.
Because the movies ignore Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. exists. I just think it'd be a really fun movie, and since it's in the past, you know, I feel like it'll be a good addition, probably guessing rank it in the top half. And then part 2, again, if we think about it in terms of, like, that's a story, and this is a story about, like, Search for Spock, like Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock.
Yeah.
It'll be hard for them to fuck it up.
Yes.
Honestly, the thing they gotta focus on is, like, making sure that Infinity War keeps its punch.
Yes.
Have a cost still, and make sure Thanos doesn't get fucked up. Because Thanos is the through line through to the next movie. Assuming, like, I'm sure he'll be a much more minor part, but make sure that he is not fucked up. Don't fuck up in general. Don't do Thor Ragnarok.
Do you guys think that Tom Hardy's Venom will show up in Infinity War Part 2?
No. Maybe. No. He will. I guarantee they're gonna have no. Venom is in the MCU until proven otherwise.
Venom is not in the MCU.
Tom Holland is going to meet Tom Hardy's Venom.
Work for a bad person.
We all have our own
anti-hero.
I want to say Venom, dude.
Embrace your anti-hero.
Look. Yeah, it won't be as bad as the Ragnarok.
Venom. No, it won't.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's about it. Fucking great movie. Go see it. I mean, if you've watched this, you've gotten spoiled on half the movie, but more than half.
But it's even better than we describe it, so, like...
It is. No, the scene where he throws a moon was phenomenal. But anyway.
Shit.